Welcome to Velvet Beauty Hub, your go-to destination for fashion stories that inspire. From iconic luxury labels to rising stars in the world of style, we take you behind the scenes to discover the people, the passion, and the philosophies that shape fashion today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss an episode. Hey, beautiful souls! Today we're diving into something absolutely fascinating. A heart-to-heart conversation with one of the most revolutionary artists of our time. Picture this. You're sitting in a cozy Barcelona coffee shop, and across from you is Rosalía, wearing this gorgeous baby blue plaid gimagüez dress and those killer Dior biker boots. That's exactly what happened when Elle magazine sat down with her. And honestly, the conversation that followed was pure gold. We're talking about creativity, authenticity, and what it really means to stay true to yourself in an industry that's moving at the speed of light. So let's start with where Rosalía is right now, because honestly, it's such a relatable place. You know that feeling when you're between projects and everyone's asking, what's next? That's exactly where she finds herself. Her next album, the follow-up to that Grammy-winning masterpiece Motomami, is still cooking. And when she talks about deadlines, she just laughs and says, "What is time? That's so relative." I mean, can we all just take a moment to appreciate that perspective? In a world where we're constantly rushing, here's someone who's choosing to honor the creative process. She's been sharing these intimate videos on Instagram of herself writing and producing, almost like she's saying, "Trust me, I'm working, but I'm doing it my way." And honestly, that takes courage. The pressure after an album like Motomami must be insane, but she's not letting that rush her. Speaking of pressure, let's talk about how she's handling all the noise around her. This summer alone, she's been spotted everywhere, from Barcelona's Primavera Sound Festival to Los Angeles for her Euphoria filming. There are paparazzi photos, dating rumors, the whole celebrity circus. But when asked about her love life, she just grins and says, "I spend many hours in the studio. I'm in seclusion." Her closest relationship right now? Her piano. I love that energy. Staying focused on what truly matters. Now here's where it gets really interesting. Rosalía opened up about something so many of us feel, but rarely discuss: the conflict between industry demands and creative freedom. She talks about how the rhythm of the music industry is so fast, so frenetic, and how the sacrifice and price to pay is so high. But here's the beautiful part. She's figured out that the only way to continue without burning out is if her motives feel true. She says the driving force has to come from a place of purity. Money, pleasure, power, she doesn't find those fertile grounds for creativity. That's such a powerful statement, especially coming from someone who could easily chase those things. To really understand her creative process, she spent time in Mount Washington, this quiet hillside area in Northeast LA. Picture this. She's writing songs from bed in a Hollywood apartment, breaking up her days with Martin Scorsese films and reading feminist literature like I Love Dick by Chris Kraus. She even made this iconic moment happen, showing up to Charli XCX's birthday party with a bouquet of black calla lilies filled with cigarettes. When asked about it, she just said, "If my friend likes parliaments, I'll bring her a bouquet with parliaments." You can do a bouquet of anything that you know that person loves. That's such a beautiful way to think about friendship and creativity. But here's what really struck me about her approach to music making. She describes it as foraging, this very feminine way of creating where you're aware of the stories that came before you and the stories happening around you. You pick things up, you share them, but you don't put yourself at the center. It's the complete opposite of the hero narrative we see so much in music. This connects to her academic background and how she approaches composition like found object art. Think about Baghdad, where she interpolated an R&B melody from Justin Timberlake, or Saoko, with its jazz drum fills mixed with reggaeton beats. She's constantly assembling sounds that shouldn't work together, but somehow create magic through her voice. The visual aspect of her work is equally thoughtful. Those concerts where cameras and drones follow her across the stage, creating this fractured, multiplied image, it's inspired by TikTok culture and how we exist online. She describes it like a cubist painting. Everything is happening at the same time, so you just choose what makes sense for you, where you want to put the eye, and focus your energy. Now, let's talk about collaboration and creative partnerships, because this is where things get really personal. She's been through some significant changes recently. She's no longer working with Elle, who was her main creative partner on her last 2 major albums. But she talks about it with such grace. No bad blood, just people growing in different directions. Sometimes people grow apart, she says. He's on his journey now. That's such a mature way to handle creative divorces. And yes, she's also navigated romantic relationships that were creative partnerships too. Without naming names or dwelling on the past, she simply says, "I feel grateful to each person with whom life has made me find myself." That level of emotional intelligence and grace is something we can all learn from. Speaking of relationships, her friendship with Hunter Schafer is particularly beautiful. When asked about pressure to define her sexuality publicly, Rosalía just shakes her head and says, "I think of freedom. That's what guides me." They remain friends and now co-stars on Euphoria, where director Sam Levinson basically gives her free rein to shape her character. He says he loves unleashing her on a scene and letting her play with words and emotions in both English and Spanish. Her approach to acting is so interesting too. Coming from flamenco, which is incredibly theatrical, she talks about putting herself in service of the emotion, in service of an idea, in service of something that is much grander than me. That's such a beautiful way to think about performance. Not making it about yourself, but being a vessel for something bigger. And let's talk about her friendship with Penélope Cruz, which started when they worked together on Pedro Almodóvar's Pain and Glory. Cruz was nervous about singing, Rosalía was nervous about acting, and they bonded over sharing that vulnerability. Cruz describes being mesmerized by Rosalía's voice and talent as a composer and interpreter. It's beautiful how 2 Spanish icons can support each other without ego or competition. Now, we absolutely have to talk about her fashion sense, because honey, this woman knows how to serve looks. She describes herself as a mood board in flesh, and honestly, that's the perfect way to put it. Her style is this incredible mix of ultra-femme Venus-like energy meets biker chic that she's been cultivating her whole life. That Gimagüez dress paired with Dior biker boots? Pure genius. She sees style as an elongation, an extension of the expression. For her, creativity doesn't stop at music. It's a 24/7 state of being. You can see this philosophy in everything from her red carpet looks to those casual paparazzi shots. She's always telling a story through her clothes, always making a statement. And unlike some artists who downplay the importance of fashion, she's totally protective of her aesthetic. She's built this visual identity that's become as recognizable as her voice. What really gets me about Rosalía is her deep understanding of creative lineage. She doesn't claim to have invented anything. Instead, she acknowledges her debt to flamenco legends like Camarón de la Isla and Enrique Morente, as well as artists like Björk and Kate Bush. She says, if Kate Bush exists and then Björk exists, then another way of making pop exists. She sees herself as part of this matriarchal lineage in pop music, building on what came before to create space for what comes next. And here's something that really resonated with me. Her thoughts on the pace of modern life versus the pace of the soul. She talks about how the immediacy of today's rhythms is not the rhythm of the soul. To create honestly, you have to know what rhythm you're going with. That's such profound wisdom for anyone trying to maintain authenticity in a fast-paced world. She's also learned to value those quiet periods between projects. Quoting Bjork, she says that in order to create, you need periods of privacy. For a seed to grow, it needs darkness. That's why she's gone mostly offline since her last project. In a culture that demands constant content and updates, choosing silence and privacy becomes a radical act. Before we wrap up, I want to share something Rosalía said that really stuck with me. When people suggest she might quit music, she laughs and says, "That's impossible. If you are a musician, you can't quit. Music is not something you can abandon." But then she adds this beautiful reflection. Sometimes it takes a second for you to be able to process what you've done. It's a blessing in an artistic career to process things or rewrite how it should have been done before. What a beautiful reminder that growth and reflection are just as important as creation itself. Whether she releases one more album or 20, music will always be her compass. And honestly, watching her navigate fame while staying true to her artistic vision is incredibly inspiring. In a world that often demands we choose between commercial success and creative integrity, she's showing us there's another way. So what do you think? Are you as excited as I am to see what she creates next? Let me know in the comments what resonated with you most from her story. And if you loved diving deep into the creative minds that shape our culture, make sure to hit that subscribe button because we've got so many more inspiring stories coming your way. Until next time, keep creating, keep growing, and remember, your authentic voice is your superpower. Thanks for watching.